My name is Vic. I'm from the US, originally from San Francisco, and I recently moved to, well, not recently, I moved to Berlin about 3.5 years ago. I would say my passions really revolve around something to do with the outdoors, so whether it be hiking, just walking around town. I used to like dirt biking, but I can't really find that here. Yep, just general outdoor activities. We do have a lake here called the Spray, so I like going on a kayak down there as well. The most recent countries I've lived so far are Bangkok, Thailand, US for most of my life. I would say partly also India as well. I think the first move, so actually let me start back a little bit. When I used to previously live in India, that was mainly due to school. So I moved there and lived there for about 3 years. But other major moves as I was an adult were from the US to Bangkok. And that move was also mainly due to schools, university. I had my Erasmus year, study abroad year there. And I wanted to move there just to get out of what I was used to. You know, I was mainly born and raised in San Francisco and just used to the lifestyle there, used to the same old friend groups there, so I thought a little bit of change would be good, plus finishing up my university in Bangkok, Thailand. From Bangkok, the move to Berlin was mainly prompted by work, I would say. I finished up my university year over there in Bangkok, then I was looking for work around the EU region, and I had some friends that I made in Bangkok that were actually living in Berlin, Germany, and I reached out to them. They recommended Berlin as a hot spot for startups, and I thought that was interesting, getting to be able to try living and working in a city where startups were up and coming. They're hot, but not at the excessive pace of Silicon Valley, say, for example. So yeah, I would say main reason for work. I think I'll start with India first. The thing I learned over there that's really memorable would be something along the lines of being independent, being self-sufficient, and letting things go a lot of the times. I think in a lot of aspects of life over there, not everything works the way you think it should work. So being able to just let that go and go with the flow is a big part of my life when I was in India. Bangkok, Thailand, similar. I think lifestyle over there, you do have to be independent, self-sufficient, let things go to a certain extent. But also, I think learning about just the pace of life. The pace of life there is a bit different as well in terms of the people's personalities. People's personalities are just very easygoing, light-hearted, friendly people, very patient people. I think the biggest takeaway from there is patience as well. From Berlin, Germany, biggest thing I learned is, again, a takeaway from Bangkok is patience. Things here also don't work the way you expect sometimes, especially bureaucratic things, and I think a huge takeaway is being patient. Persistence is key. If you don't continue to try to push over here with these systems, you won't get what you want. And lastly, I would say for Berlin, Germany, biggest takeaway is, I think, pace of life. I really have learned to appreciate that now. Again, coming from the US, the pace of life is very different there. What you aspire to be is very, very different there. How you should be living is very, very fast-paced, and I think I really appreciate the difference in style of the pace of life here. Really getting to appreciate that here. I would say the biggest thing I like about Berlin is, maybe it sounds cheesy, but transportation. It's pretty easy to get around here without a car. That's always nice. Transportation is fairly reliable, above average. But other than that, I would say another thing that stuck out to me was the friend group that I gained here. It's, again, coming to a city where startups were just kind of popping off. I think the different friend groups that I've met here is super valuable to me. I think the other main thing that I really like about my life here in Berlin is the friend groups that I have now. Living here for the first time as a professional expat, not a student, I really got a good mix of friends, really good different groups from all different countries around Europe, and I really get to see the difference in the people, where they come from, what they do, how they eat, what they drink. I think that's been, very valuable to me here in Berlin. I think the expat experience was really impacted by the core things that I learned from all three moves, all three countries, India, Thailand, and Berlin, and that is patience, number one, and number two is being patient with people and how they communicate. There's many different styles of communications that I've learned, many different personalities that I've met across these countries, and being able to read that, being able to decipher that and understand that and really take that in has been really helpful in professional life, for sure, with work, with friends. And I think also that lends itself to personal life as well. There's a lot of changes going on, and I think being able to adapt yourself in how you listen and hear things and how you reciprocate your emotions and your feelings, just communicating overall has been very key for me. Biggest struggles that I've had across India and Thailand, Germany as well, I would say, is the communication barrier. I think, again, what you express and what you say is not really understood the way you want it to be in a lot of times. And those times where it's really important or critical are, for example, during bureaucratic engagements, when you're getting an Anmeldung here in Berlin, when you're registering in Thailand, when you're getting a driver's license or a visa renewed in Thailand or India. I think what you want is not clearly understood. And I would say that's been the biggest hurdle in all three countries overall, just the bureaucratic systems and things, Yeah, I guess the last point about Berlin, I've been living here for 3.5 years. I'm about to move my life back to the States in about a month. And I think key takeaway as an expat, as an experienced expat living here in a professional manner, I guess, I think a big takeaway is now the appreciation for, I would say it again, the life here and the life you can have here, the independent, kind of quiet, personal life you can have here, or on the opposite, if you want to have a very vibrant, outgoing life as well. I think you can really pick and choose what you want here and really fit into that mold or fit into that niche, if you'd like, and it's all respected. There's no judgment here. I think that's a big appreciation that I have for this city. I think the openness and the no judgment mentality is very good for kind of introspection, self-growth, which I think I've been going through. Maybe a lot of people are going through, and just overall growth and learning in life that people go through. I think it's very a safe environment, like a nurturing environment for you to grow as an individual. I think that's a big appreciation and love I have for Berlin.